How do you want to be remembered? Some desire fame, recognition, and fortune, while others prefer to live a life off the grid. Perhaps more importantly, what do you want your life to be defined by? For those who feel undefined, don't feel too bad. Some of the world's most gifted people who have achieved otherworldly things often find themselves in the same situation as the average man. That brings me to Forrest Frosty Peters. Mr. Peters was a drop kicker. Now, what is that exactly? A drop kick involves a player dropping a football and then kicking it as it touches the ground. Since Peters' time, the drop kick has unfortunately become obsolete, with the last successful drop kick field goal being hit by 43-year-old Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie, way about 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, is going to kick it. And he drop kicks it up and through. How about that? Doug Flutie took the snap and he drop kicked it through the uprights and hits the conversion.
Even in 2021, the drop kick is not without its fans. I hope to witness a drop kick in my life. The drop kick is so remote and rare that it just sends shivers down people's spines and brings out the giddy. An amazing old school football days play. We all know about it, but never seen it. Andrew has commented on YouTube. I don't know a lot about Andrew. Nothing at all, really. But I'm about to plead my case. Andrew, meet your new favorite player. Forrest Frosty Peters. Let's talk unbreakable records. We got Cal Ripken Jr.'s 2,632 consecutive games played streak, Bill Russell's 11 championships, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, Rickey Henderson's 1,406 stolen bases, Wayne Gretzky's 2,857 points. And then we have Frosty Peters and his 17 dropkick field goals in a single game. For that, we have to go back to 1924, during Peters' time as a freshman kicker for Montana State College. I was a member of the Montana State freshman team when I made 17 successful dropkicks in a game with the Billings, Montana Polytechnic Institute. In practice, I'd been doing some remarkable kicking, and the members of the freshman team wondered how many field goals I could make in a regular game if given the opportunity. Billings was known to have a weak team. Before the game, it was agreed that any time our 11 got within striking distance of the goal, I was to attempt a dropkick rather than trying to score a touchdown. Staying true to his word, Peters did just that. They scored 64 points on Billings, and his 17 dropkicks were responsible for 51 of them. They were all made from distances ranging from 10 to 28 yards. One may call this, dare I say, gimmick cruel. I would argue it is anything but cruel. Frosty so kindly gifted the Polytechnic Institute a piece of history, one that was sure to send shivers down their spine. At that, I'm sure the freshmen that played in this JV college football game would have never imagined that nearly 100 years later, one of the games they played together has ceased to be forgotten. Yet, here we are. So, is that it? Is the life of Frosty Peters defined by his mastery of a gimmick in a freshman football game? Yes, unfortunately, it clearly is. Which raises a question. Would you want to be defined by one moment? My guess is probably not. And in that sense, our memory of Frosty Peters is quite tragic. Peters did a lot more than kick in a freshman football game. He played both professional football and baseball in the 1930s, stepped away from the pros to serve as a sergeant during World War II, came back after the war to become a professional baseball umpire, only to quit later after being assaulted by a player who was only fined $100 for the incident. After all that, he lived out the rest of his life as a part-time engineer. Perhaps we don't really know Frosty Peters. We only know his achievements, and that is a shame. I'll leave you with these excerpts from one of his many obituaries. Peters' body was found Thursday morning in his basement apartment by his landlady, Virginia E. St. Pierre. He had been dead for 1 or possibly 2 days, apparently from a heart attack. Dr. John K. Morrison, Macon County coroner, was still attempting to locate relatives Friday night. I'd known him for 20 years, Lakeview High School principal Bob Matheson said, but I guess I didn't know him too well after all. Most men who had enjoyed his career would be much better known. Frosty Peters was a man who never traded on his accomplishments. I'll ask one more time. How do you want to be defined? And how do you want to be remembered? For Frosty Peters, we'll never know what he would have thought of his legacy. But for me, and possibly my buddy Andrew, he is gone, but certainly not forgotten. Thanks for watching.